Good evening. I'm Daniel Paul Pankey. I'm a candidate for Masters in Instructional Leadership at JSU. In 2011, I did my action research paper on helping ninth grade students who are not making benchmarks or who are failing the ninth grade. We began using the tier model. This is the three tiers. Each student is put into a tier. This is a pyramid that represents the tier model. At the bottom level, you have the tier 1 students. The second level, you have the tier 2, and the third level at the top, you have the tier 3 students. 2011, Douglas had 499 students. 133 of those students were ninth grade students. Of those, 27% were male, and 20% of the students were considered at risk. Well, I need to go back. 27% of the 27% of the population was made up of ninth grade students, and of that 20%, those were the ones who were failing or were not meeting standards set forth by the state and by the school system itself. 70% of those 20% were male, and 23% were female. Going through the model, tier 1 students should make up 80% of your population. They should receive regular instruction from a regular teacher, such as their history teacher, their English teacher, science teacher, what have you. They should be assessed in the normal ways, both formative assessments and summative assessments. Most of these students shouldn't require any kind of different instruction. Now, your tier 2 students are students who are almost in tier 1. They need a little bump. So teachers will give them a little more attention, maybe give them some different kinds of work to do, give them some group activities that they can work on, and help get them to master those skills that they're lacking. It's not as intense as it will be for the tier 3 students, but it's still going further than going with the tier 1 students who basically have mastered the skills and are able to go on their own. You'll also use daily assessments, both formative and summative, to gauge or to collect data to see if these students are gaining the skills that they need to move from tier 1 down into from tier 2 down to tier 1, and that's where you want them to be. And then tier 3 are those students who are way below benchmark or have less skills than even the tier 2. You want to take these students and you want to put them in an environment where they have a lot of group instruction. You can also have some one-on-one instruction between the student and the teacher. They need a lot more hands-on than your tier 1 and especially your tier 1, especially your tier 2 and your tier 1s. Tier 3, you're also going to bring in another teacher or someone who is more skilled in the area that you're lacking or that they're lacking, and what you're not. If you're a core teacher and they're having trouble with some skills that may be slanted toward math, you may have a special needs teacher or special education teacher who's been taught in that field to kind of help you and the student close that gap and try to get them to move up into Tier 2 and then eventually into Tier 1. And I say up, but according to the pyramid, your base is at 80% down at the bottom. Your what used to be called your BBSST team, which was your building-based team, has changed from that to your BLT team, which was the building leadership team, and now we're calling the PST team, which is your problem-solving team. And what it has evolved from is taking a group of kids that you would look at as a whole in your BBSST or your BLT programs to your PST, which is now focusing solely on that child, and that problem-solving team is going to meet more often about that child to see if the child's needs or the student's needs have been met by the core teacher and the special instructor or special needs teacher. Excuse me. They will have a lot more diagnostic testing, both formative and summative. A lot more data will be collected on these students and will be discussed by the PST team to see if the student is progressing, and if the student is progressing, how much is he or she progressing. If they're not progressing, going back and looking at what the core teacher and the special needs teacher have been doing to see if they may need to change something up so that they can reach this student to get them into the next tier. As of today, Douglas only has 2 students that are in their PST program. Douglas feels that by the time they reach the 9th grade, most of their students have been identified as special needs already, so they're receiving those services. So they're using the problem-solving team and using the tiered instruction to help these students. And again, from what they said, there's only 2 that's in this program now. They are using Edmodo. Excuse me. They are using ARI strategies, which is strategic teaching, in all of their classrooms. You have your daily bell ringer, which asks them the question from a previous lesson, and it's more detailed than a one-word answer. Maybe it has them describe something or explain something from the previous day. And then they have their before, during, and after, and then they have their strategies. We at Bessemer City are also in the ARI, or the Alabama Reading Initiative program, and we are using strategic teaching. I have been part of training for strategic teaching in 3 different schools, so it's new at Bessemer, and I've already been trained, as I said, by 2 other schools or 2 other systems in strategic teaching. So I'm trying to help other teachers make this transition, which, if you think about it, if you're a teacher in a classroom and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're hitting what you need to hit with the ARI strategies. The next thing I want to talk about is technology and what I've learned from Jacksonville State on how important technology is in the classroom. But not only using technology, but using websites that are geared specifically to teachers and students. I use Edmodo. It is a great way for teachers to stay in contact with their students. It's very simple to use. You go to the Edmodo website, which is edmodo.com, and you create yourself an Edmodo account. Okay? Then as you go in, sorry about that. As you go in, you sign up and you put how many classes you have in there, and each class receives a special code. So as your students come in and you introduce them to Edmodo, you give them their special code. They go to Edmodo, they can download it on their phones, their iPhones or their Androids. Click on the app, create their own account, ask to join your page or your website or your part of Edmodo. Type in the code and they're automatically uploaded onto your account or your teacher account. You can send work, you can put tests, you can do polls, you can do quizzes. You can also invite parents to join Edmodo so they can see what their child is doing in your classroom. I like to use it. I put everything that we do every day on Edmodo, so if I have a student who is absent, all they have to do is click on Edmodo, go to the account, and see what we've done. I've always put notes on there on what we're doing that day and what I expect them to do, and I always put on there reminders and alerts about tests that are coming up. So it's very easy. The only thing about it is Android users have a little more trouble of opening up PDF files, and most of what you download on here are PDF files, so they need to download Adobe Acrobat for their Android phone. Once they do that, they should have no problems opening up any file that you send to them. I put the website here for Edmodo. You can go to it. So to come up and just, if we have Wi-Fi in the building or anything, you can click on it and you can go to it and you can set up an account, or I can show you my account. And you see right now mine's kind of slow here at home, so it's finally pulled up and it's Edmodo with you wherever you go. Now if your school system has iPads or any kind of laptop devices that I know a lot of schools are trying to go to, I know Bessemer's trying to go to, we've had some problems getting those out. We wanted to give them to our 10th and our 8th graders in March, but things are moving kind of slow, so I think we're going to wait till next year and give them to the next year's 10th and 8th graders, and then eventually give all of our students laptops so we can get rid of books. And sites like Edmodo will be great because then the students won't have to worry about being able to download Adobe or anything onto their phones, and it won't take up as much space, and it'll be on their laptops. And you can put sections of a book on there, you can put the whole book, you can download it onto Edmodo and it will keep it on in files on Edmodo, or you can leave it on your laptop and just go to your laptop and upload your files, whatever you want it to be, to Edmodo, whichever's easiest for you. I found both ways work for me. It's just whatever I feel like doing at the time. Thank you very much.